possibly burned Shane in this trade. Obviously, this is dynasty. So you went and you traded Kamara and James Robinson on a rebuilding team and you received Saquon Barkley, a 2023 first and a 2023 second in a running back heavy class.
Yes, I did.
That's solid. I mean, Saquon, he hasn't been healthy lately, but I mean, I feel like he's still somebody that could absolutely light fires to the world. Alvin Kamara, he's getting a ton of tread on his tires. So possibly by the end of 2023, he's kind of fading off, and it could end up helping out, your value towards the first round pick. James Robinson might not even be a starting running back in the league or, in the league period by 2023. Yeah. So if you're aiming for 2023, plus it helps out your first round picks.
Yeah, exactly. There's it's a 16 team league. So you have to be really thoughtful when you're making a deal because it could affect you long term. But I couldn't resist. I could have held out another month to get a little bit more for James Robinson, but you never know what's going to happen. He actually screwed me in the playoffs last year by getting hurt. So I was able to get that first. I had paid a first for him the season prior, so I gained a second, and then the Kamara Barkley I almost see as an equal type of. I get a little younger, but I'm also, I'm cool with the Barkley Kamara side. As I broke it down for myself here, but J-Rob getting hurt in the playoffs last year hurt me real bad. And it played into this deal for sure. But I've already reached out to a couple of league mates inquiring about their Barkley interest. So I might be able to cash in again. There's a lot of season to be played before we get to the playoffs. So, I'm going to hold out because once those playoffs start up and guys are trying to make their final moves, there's no trade deadline. This is Dynasty Trades HQ. Listener League, the very first one, HQ1. So trades are going on throughout the playoffs, and there's a lot of draft capital that gets moved around during that time. So I was happy with the deal.
Yeah, that works out, man. All right, you ready to get the show started? We got people in the comments already ready to ask these. Let's go ahead and throw this music on and get our show started. You ready?
Do it, baby.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
Larry, what's going on, man? It's been a minute. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy Intervention. I've got Larry Monkey in with me. Larry, how's your night been? What you got going on? It's been way too long since we had you on the show.
It's great, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. It has been a long time. I see you out there. I see everything you got going on. So, happy to get on the stop of your train and we'll see where it takes us tonight.
Larry and I met up for the first time back, a little bit over a year ago or so. Did we meet through the Hot Sauce podcast, or did we do a show before then?
You actually, well, as I used to put it, you were the warm-up act for us on the podathon.
Oh, that's right. And you had the backstage mask going on. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, the SFB podathon, man. You were on right before us. And, that was a great time. And then, I don't know, we crossed paths again. And, I don't know, you've been on my show. I've been on yours. We did the coming in hot draft, which was an all-time great night. And best ball draft. Yeah. So a lot of good times there.
No, I'm happy to have you on. You guys need to go check out Larry Monkey. He runs the Dynasty Hot Sauce podcast. He's all over the place. And, it's a pleasure having you on once again. hopefully we don't get too hammered while doing this show, but we do have a show to do. It's the Waiver Wire Show. And in this show, right, it's not just about waiver wire pickups, because guess what? Everybody tells you who you should pick up, right? Like there's one website. I'm not going to name the website. They have 50 waiver wire pickups every week. It's like what are you doing? How do you have 50 waiver wire pickups? Like, it makes no sense. It's almost like disrespectful to think that you're that dumb to pick up somebody that's 50 people deep. I mean, it's crazy to me. So we take these people that are coming out here putting up their waiver wire pickups. When we tell you guys no shit, yes, this guy's a waiver wire pickup. Then we go and we break down some of those guys that you will be wasting fab on. We hit on Le'Veon Bell last week, right? We hit on Ramondre Stevenson last week. I mean, these are players that you just wasted your fab, and you shouldn't have wasted your fab. And this is what gets you behind when it comes to the championship run. I mean, you go in and you end up having somebody like Dalvin Cook, for example, right, that gets hurt in week 15 back 2 years ago, and you're screwed because you have no fab left over. You go into like week 12, and Antonio Brown ends up, getting hurt for the rest of the season back in 2017. Like, you're screwed. Like, you don't have any fab to pick it up. So we were going to try and save you fab by telling you guys which ones to fade for this week. And you guys can go check out my article on it at trophysmack.com. If you guys go click on the Smack Zone, you will see waiver wires to trash. It's not for sensitive, people. It's a little bit harsh. If you picked up one of these guys, I am sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and start out this episode before we dive into the no shit people. Let's go ahead, Larry, and let's see real quick what you think about this take. Facebook user ends up asking, does Chubb see the majority of carries when he's back? Or is Dearness Johnson going to cut into his production like Kareem Hunt?
Nah, this is all Nick Chubb. Come on. This is Nick Chubb. I mean,
So
he might spell him at times just to keep him fresh, because I mean the Browns have been riddled with injuries this year, and I'm sure they're going to want to circle the wagons and give him a shot. But I think this is all Chubb. He's the man, dude. You need Nick Chubb. He's the best guy on your team. Come on.
No, Nick Chubb is somebody that should see the majority of carries. Dearness Johnson, he's not really a target machine. I think that, I mean, if anybody, it might be Demetric Felton to an extent that actually sees, some of the spelling of the work. But Nick Chubb should actually go back to being, that bell cow, that workhorse role that we've seen in the past from him. So I agree with you. And Bob's in the chat, of course.
Hey, Bob. All right, buddy.
Says, I haven't seen Larry for a while. Can't wait to hear his take on the amazing Jets this season. Yeah. Bob is a big Patriots fan, of course. What's up, Bob? Glad to have you in here. All right, so we will get into some of these other questions, but real quick, let's go through like some of these guys that are like just obvious pickups on the waiver wire. Guys that I don't even know why we're talking about, why they have articles written up. I mean, if you're watching football, if you're a fan of football, you should be a part of it. Let's start out with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, he's not been on a hot streak necessarily, but he's been on a streak where you could actually roster him. And in bad matchups, I mean, he's gone off. Now, up against the San Francisco 49ers, I don't consider that really a bad matchup, especially since it was in an insane type game when it came to weather conditions. I mean, winds were swirling like crazy. I think they had 30-mile-per-hour winds. The rain was coming down like crazy, and he still ended up having a good game. Next week up against Tennessee, who's been one of the worst secondaries in the league. I mean, everybody on Tennessee's injured. I mean, Carson Wentz should be a no-shit type pickup, right? Are you on the same page with me, Larry, on this one? Yeah. Or are you somebody that thinks that Carson Wentz should be an obvious pickup for week 8?
Well, I mean, a lot of people refer to him as Carson Wentz, but but he's got the matchups. I think he's getting more comfortable in the offense and everything that's around him. Jonathan Taylor's the man. Michael Pittman is just playing on another level. He gets T.Y. Hilton back this week. Don't forget about him. And I know you're a big fan of Mo Cox. You can't get enough Mo Cox in your life. Is that right, Chase? Come on.
There are times where I just have to, I've got to pull out Mo Cox and play him off the bat. It's just, part of that process. So, yeah, I like the situation that we see from Carson Wentz where he doesn't have to throw 40 times a game in most cases, but yet he can throw 40 times a game if he needs to. And up against the Titans, I mean, this should be somewhat of a shootout. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this game. All right, let's bring up Tua, because Tua's strung together a couple nice performances in a row, 2 20-point-plus performances. And in the 3 full games that he's played, he's averaged over 25 points per game, I believe, in most leagues, pending your scoring. So Tua Tagovailoa is in an interesting situation up against the Bills where he's going to have to pass, right?
I mean, I'm not touching Tua right now. There's
Ooh,
a lot
okay,
of
so
smoke. I mean, what is the Bills? Is that who we're playing?
yeah,
That's
the
who the Dolphins
Bills.
are playing. Yeah, I'm staying
They
away from the
do.
Bills. Coming off a bye week.
That
I
is
don't know.
true. That is true. See, that's why I have you here. You got to talk me down from the edge.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to touch the Bills coming off a bye week. They're steamrolling right now. Dolphins, they had a nice feel-good game last week, and I think they just get brought right back down to earth. And again, there's all this Watson stuff happening that could distract. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of. I'm not feeling too warm about this game.
It's also because you're in the AFC East, but
That could be true as well.
no, I understand where you're coming from though. The Dolphins haven't been good, and they're actually allowing the most amount of pressures on the quarterback, and I
Mhm.
believe the least amount of time to throw. So that is a big factor. I still like Tua for this matchup. I think that they're going to get Waddle involved even more than what he's been so far this
Yeah.
season. He still put up 15 fantasy points per game last week and didn't even get in the end zone. So, I think they involve him a little bit more. But yeah, Tua is somebody that I am targeting, but I can understand how you would be scared off it. He's not, I guess, a no shit pickup. So chalk me up 1-0. Let's go ahead and move on to the running back position over here.
Mm.
And for running back, Kenneth Gainwell is my first no shit running back. Do we even need to talk about it? I mean, they're going up against the Lions. It's something that should be relatively obvious, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, Kenny Gainwell's been waiting in the wings. He got some run in the beginning of the season. Then they kind of pulled back the reins a little bit. I guess they were getting too much. Too many people were like, where's Miles Sanders? And maybe and then they listened to all that smoke, and then next thing you know, Miles Sanders is playing. And Miles Sanders, what does he do? Like he does every year, it seems he gets banged up, in his leg. So now it's Kenny Gainwell time. It might be a reason why they drafted him. He catches the ball in the backfield. He's real quick, and he's shown some explosiveness. And hopefully they don't split it too much. Boston Scott is always lurking. He got some touches last week. So I love Kenny Gainwell this week. Why not? Right?
No, I think that Kenny Gainwell is a smash play. Another player that I actually like, and I like Damian Harris a lot more, but Brandon Bolden is somebody that I've been talking about for weeks. We brought it up in the show multiple times, and Britt's probably going to kill me because we have talked about it 3 times. She's going to be like, why did you guys even bring him up? We've talked about it every week. And the thing is, it's like the Chargers, their dump off containment efficiency score is relatively good, but they're very porous up front. However, I think the Chargers will be up in this game. I think the Patriots will be down by at least 2 scores throughout the majority of the game, which is going to force Brandon Bolden in the game at least throughout the end of the second quarter and throughout most of the fourth quarter. And Brandon Bolden, we've seen what he can do. I mean, last week, what do you have? Like 8 receptions for 89 yards or something along those lines?
Dude, there's a last minute bench. I benched him in favor of who did I bench? I benched him in favor of Kenny Gainwell. So it wasn't totally, a bust. But Brandon Bolden just that's all he does is catch balls. So if they're in that negative game script, then he's going to be your man, like you said. So he's a great play in games that they're going to be coming from behind about. And this looks like one of those games. So Brandon Bolden should have another nice game. So he'd be somebody you want to plug in there.
So obviously, Facebook user right here, Gainwell must pick up with a Sanders injury or Scott the one. We did bring up this a second ago. Boston Scott is actually somebody that we're going to talk about here in a second. I don't want to spoil it too much. But Kenny Gainwell absolutely is. Meanwhile, we will get to this one here as well, where they ask about if there's any no-shit pickups from the Packers with Adams and Lazard, both doubtful because of the issues with that. I believe COVID. Was Lazard COVID as well? I've been slam-packed busy the entire
day. He just got that. Well, he got put into the protocol. So we don't know what the specifics are, but he's already been ruled out for Thursday.
Would you fade Rodgers this week because of this?
If I had a better option, sure. I mean, oh man, I should have had that ready. I just saw all the injuries they have for Thursday that are out. And there's a lot of guys injured. So, I mean, who's Rodgers going to be? There was talks that Jordan Love's going to be like they're going to be lining him out wide. So,
all right. So you playing Aaron Rodgers or Tua?
ooh, good one. I don't know, man. I just like. I'd probably have to go. I'd probably still go Rodgers because he still has Aaron Jones. He still has AJ Dillon.
Maybe
Yeah.
MVS.
Maybe MVS, and there might be a chance Devontae Adams. I mean, I heard that somewhere that maybe he passes enough tests that he'll be ready to go Thursday. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about Rodgers unless the rest of his wide receiver room catches COVID. Because it seems to be regulated to that wide receiver room so far.
Well, we'll keep rolling with this one, and then we'll hop on to the wide receivers here. Rodgers or Tanny?
Oh, I'm going Tannehill here.
Yeah, I don't think it's any question for me up against the Colts.
He's just heating up, and they need to take some leverage off that running game, and I think they're going to start to do that now. Now that AJ Brown's starting to get a little more healthy.
Yeah, and that offensive line is beat up too. So I mean, they can't keep running the ball the same way they have. Right. All right, so let's go ahead and hop over to the wide receiver position. Since I am 2 for 2 on the running backs, let's go with. Ooh, this one's tough. Because wide receivers aren't as potent, but Darius Slayton actually makes an interesting one for me.
Yeah.
Darius Slayton, if Galladay's out, if Tony's out, if Shepard's out, Kansas City, who has been extremely porous up against the wide receiver position, Darius Slayton could smash, right? Like, I mean, is he a no-shit pickup for a team in need of a wide receiver? Maybe not a team that's like they have valuable starters, right? Like, there are good guys along the entire, along their entire roster, but somebody that might be a little bit short on wide receiver, this upcoming week.
In a 12-team league, there should be somebody better out on the waiver wire, I think. I mean, I don't know how deep the benches are, what kind of league, how many starters you have, but yeah, Slayton would be at the kind of I think there's a chance. There's always a chance, but it's the Giants, so you have to always take that into account right now. You don't know which version of them you're going to get, but yeah, you're right. There is no one else to throw to. So by default, he should, and he had a good game last week. There's no doubt about that. I mean, how many targets did he have? Like, he had about nine targets. So catches 5 passes, 9 targets.
And he's running deep routes. He's running deep routes the whole time.
So, I mean, well, like you said, if he's the only one there, you have Kadarius Toney, Shepard, Galladay, they could all still be out there. And if he's healthy, sure, he's going to get peppered with those targets. So if you're in a jam, you're in a PPR league, sure. But, you might not necessarily want to count on a touchdown, but you never know, You got Evan Ingram still there, but who knows?
Okay. I'll take it. We can roll with that. I think that's still lost for me, but
there's also a chance Saquon comes back, so that opens things up. And I think I would keep an eye on Slayton, sure, but I would just be a little hesitant to bust him in because he's burned you so many times in the past.
What about Rashad Bateman?
Well, he's on a bye week.
Yeah, but I mean, is he a pickup? Because at this point, somebody might not put as much fab on him this week, and then all of a sudden you have to hold him for 1 week. But that's my next no-shit pickup. Like, I know that's not sexy having a player on the bye week. Like, that's not the best thing that you want to see. But if it's a player who you can sit there and actually take advantage of in the future weeks by just rostering 1 week. I mean, people have been holding on to Michael Thomas for probably close to 10 weeks before he comes back. Why can't you roster Rashad Bateman?
Can I give you another one?
Rashad
Bateman's perfect. Deshaun Watson. Pick him up. Oh, baby. Guess what?
Oh, man.
Pick him up. They're going to, I mean, their trade deadline's coming up, or they're talking about this week. There's rumors flying everywhere. We're talking about a top 5 quarterback.
So
when he plays, give him a week to catch up to speed. He's in your starting lineup week 9, gets a couple of weeks under his belt before he gets his football legs underneath him, and then boom, ready for the playoffs. You have Deshaun Watson as your starting quarterback, lighting up the Dolphins or Panthers or Washington football team or whoever.
I will revisit this, okay? Because I want to talk about that in a second. I want to get through this one little segment, and then before we go into the waiver wire pickups to trash, let's talk about some Deshaun Watson because I would like to discuss that. Okay. So let's go on to the tight end position. I think that's all we have left. Tight ends. And my first no-shit pickup, of course you want to roster him, was Conklin. Conklin is coming off another huge performance after a bye week. He's got the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, Yeah, they've been meh up against tight ends. They really haven't played too many great ones. I'm thinking that the Dallas Cowboys, this is the perfect opportunity to see Conklin go off. I think that Trayvon Diggs could end up shutting down Justin Jefferson, and although I think Adam Thielen's going to eat, this could create plenty of opportunities for Conklin to eat as well in a very high-scoring game. So Conklin is my number one no-shit pickup tight end of the week.
Okay. I think Conklin is a decent pickup and as a chance for a touchdown, end zone. He's like another Kyle Rudolph, really, when you think about it.
Oh, come on. He creates so many more yards after the catch. That is blasphemy. And I like Kyle Rudolph, but
when I mentioned well, I was a big Irv Smith guy, so I
love Irv Smith, don't get me wrong.
And when I was talking up Irv Smith in the summertime, I always referenced the concern I have for Tyler Conklin, and everyone would just like crucify me for mentioning Tyler Conklin, and now he's the hot pickup. That's amazing. The circle of life,
I would have been one of the ones fighting you. I would.
Yeah, man. He's a red zone guy. An outlet guy. I like Osborne. I actually put him in my fishbowl lineup. Did I get his name right?
Yeah, KJ Osborne.
Yeah, KJ. Yeah. So, I'm taking it because I'm in a bye week conundrum in the Scott Fishbowl this week. So I have to.
It wasn't the week 7 bye.
No, I crushed. I crushed him week 7.
I did too, to be honest. Week 9 scares me.
I'm actually having so the quarterbacks are important to discuss here because I happen to have Baker Mayfield in a lot of spots. I have Zach Wilson in a lot of spots, and we're talking dynasty leagues too. I don't really roster, well, I shouldn't say that. I just lied. I was a big Justin Fields, Trey Lance guy in a bunch of my redrafts. I figured they'd be, boom, throw them in, get up to speed. I thought the rushing ceiling would be there for Justin Fields. Was I wrong about that or what, man? Because I just put in a waiver claim. Okay, talk waiver claims. I just put a waiver claim in for Ben Roethlisberger to swap out for. This is a super flex league, so tight ends or quarterbacks are thin. But Henneke, Roethlisberger's out there, and I'm like, I don't want Justin Fields on my team. He's stinking it up, and he's just knocking me out of the season right now.
So I will end up addressing this real quick. Diggs will get a pick, but won't shut down Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. He actually gets picked on a lot because he's not a great corner. If you look at the stats, I was shocked at the stats because I thought he was a shutdown corner at first as well. Well, if you go and you look at the stats when they played Mike Evans, if you go look at the stats when they played the Chargers, I don't have their schedule in front of me right now, but I do know that 4 of the first 5 weeks, he was a shutdown corner and allowed less than, I think it was 60 yards receiving in each contest while forcing multiple picks. He actually has been a shutdown corner and one of the highest graded corners in terms of my shutdown shadow ability. So wow. I do tend to disagree on that one.
You couldn't have put that a little nicer. You couldn't have sweetened that up for this guy. He's watching the show here. You got to put the smackdown like that.
Oh, I don't mind. I like having debates, and debates are fun. Debates are cool. But Diggs, after, I sat there and I said he's shutdown corner. He brought it up. He's going to come and fight me up. Come on. No, but Diggs has been an absolute monster.
Nobody's shutting down Justin Jefferson.
And the thing was, all right. So Diggs was shut down last year against outside receiver. He was somebody that struggled up against quick twitch receivers, like a Terry McLaurin, for example. Sure. However, this year, I did not believe it. They said that he was going to play the slot. He was going to be a shadow guy. He was going to cover all the best receivers. I didn't believe it. I did not believe it at all. Right. And then all of a sudden, he comes through and he shuts down Keenan Allen. Although Keenan Allen ended up seeing, I hear myself right now. No, but he ended up seeing 10 targets or something like that on his way to around 100 yards or so. He got that in the fourth quarter in garbage time when Trayvon Diggs was playing prevent defense. Trayvon Diggs wasn't actually covering him. So when you actually bring it back to when Trayvon Diggs is allowing these targets and allowing these receptions and yards to these receivers, it's typically due to the Cowboys being up and to them playing prevent defense. But if you gauge the median time between where they're up by a score or they're down by a score, he's actually very good in that coverage point. All right, so anyways, I don't remember where we're at, but I want to bring up this Deshaun Watson thing, because where would Deshaun Watson go real quick. I mean, we're talking about waivers. He's most likely on your waiver. I want to bring this up because if we talk about his potential landing spots, I think that the Eagles possibly, but highly doubtful. And the Miami Dolphins, yeah, sure, they might be interested, but would they really be willing to sell away these rookie contracts they have right now, in order to grab Deshaun Watson, hope he plays next year? But if not, they won't have Deshaun Watson for 2 years, and they're not competing this year.
It's got to be teams that have a lot of draft capital, right? So the Eagles come to mind, the Dolphins come to mind. Carolina got thrown into the mix for some reason because they've been connected to Watson because of their owner wants to spare no expense to make his team a winner. And then the football team for some reason has been included in all this. So who knows? And they're unsettled at the quarterback position. So you have all these. I don't know if there's going to be a team that swoops in. Denver's always somebody, but I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of backdoor meetings that are happening, and who knows what the. I feel like he's definitely playing this year. It seems because the NFL hasn't come out as basically said our hands are tied. We're not going to do anything because he hasn't been charged with anything, and there's not really any significant proof that would make them intervene.
So I will bring up real quick, Washington's probably not going to trade for him because of their sexual harassment issues.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. They could get Tua. How do you feel about Tua on the
So, yeah, if it's a 3-team trade, that would make sense. Yeah. And Tua with Washington would probably be solid. I like Tua a lot more than most people like, and I think that they can get the most out of him with Scott Turner's offense. So that's great. But then we bring up the Carolina Panthers, which have been a hot topic lately, and I don't understand why. Right. Because if you remember, they were forced to sell the team back after the 2017 season.
Because of the owner.
Because of the sexual harassment.
They removed his statue because he was a pervert owner.
Yeah, he was.
I believe.
Sexual harassment charges, misconduct in the workplace, and there were rumblings of other things that were happening that were way worse than that.
Dick, that guy.
So I don't believe in any point in time that he's going to end up with those two teams. Denver makes sense.
Nice.
Miami makes sense. And the Eagles somewhat make sense. But the Eagles, I don't think would bring him in because of the fact that they want to go into a full rebuild, whether it's evident or not. They have a bunch of contracts that they cannot renegotiate on. They have contracts that they have guaranteed money on because they try to be like the Saints. They try to be like the Vikings. They try to push contracts back, but they weren't smart enough. And now they're hitting that wall to where they cannot renegotiate contracts. If they cut them, they're going to owe the money. It's going to go to the dead cap space. If they try to renegotiate, they're still going to owe a significant amount, and now they're going to backload themselves. And who knows? Howard Roseman's a terrible GM. He could end up doing that. However, when we look at the situation with Jalen Hurts, the reason why they have not given him an optimal level performance is because if he ends up succeeding in this offense this year, the way that the TV contracts are worked out, they're expected to go up 20% this upcoming year, 40% the year after that once TV contracts start. And all of a sudden, in that year, that's the year that they're going to have to renegotiate Jalen Hurts' contract. They're going to owe him, they're going to have to overpay him essentially because of the fact that he's going to have the stats, but the wins aren't going to be there, and they're not going to want to pay that. So bringing in Deshaun Watson without the help of the team, without having the optimal offense, with having all these expiring contracts, they're going to be going into a rebuild with a superstar at quarterback. And although they might be, Howie Roseman always outsmarts himself, so maybe this won't be the case. But I'm very, I don't believe it's going to happen with the Eagles. I'm very pessimistic about that. So I'm thinking that yes, Houston is somebody that might end up with Deshaun Watson, for a couple years moving forward with just him taking up salary cap space on the bench. So with that being said, is there any other take that you had on this, or should we move on to our guys that you need to trash on the waiver wires?
No, let's move on. We could, do it. Rock and roll, baby. Who are we trashing?
Sorry, I feel like I'm going off. You're just sitting there all nice and patient. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go with Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heineke, he's still available on waivers, and I don't understand why people are saying to pick him up. He just, blew chunks of pineapple all over the Chiefs game. Sure, he was decent over there for the Green Bay Packers, but then he goes to a way harder schedule after that, and then he has a bye week, I believe, following shortly after. So he has the Broncos, who are very tough up against the quarterback position. They're stout up front. You're not going to see a lot of opportunities, and they run very low pace per game, or pace per play.
Sure.
Very low plays per game. And then they have a bye week. And then they have the Buccaneers, which Ryan Fitzpatrick will most likely be back for in a revenge game where he got, shunned. So, what do you feel about Taylor Heineke?
You're positive Fitz comes back and they plug him right in when he's ready? Or
if he comes back. If he comes back, they'll plug him in, but Heineke hasn't played well. I mean, sure, he put up stats, and sure, they ended up, allowing some opportunities let go by fumbles over there in the red zone and stuff, but he wasn't good. He was missing throws. It was maybe one of his best performances, and yet they still only put up 10 points on the season.
Well, what does he average on the ground per game?
That's something I'm going to have to check up, but if you keep talking, I can do it.
Get you, because he was running all over the place. I mean, I caught some of that Packers game. He was actually fun to watch. Now, I know he grew up a Packers fan. It was a lifelong dream of his he's actually playing at Lambeau. So, when he ran into it's like a surreal experience for him. So I knew he was going to put a little bit extra into that game, So, he was fun to watch, though. He was airing it out. He was running all over the field. I think he had to have had at least.
He's having 31.7 yards per game, which, I mean, adding 3 points per game onto your quarterback total isn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But, I mean, either
rushing
way,
touchdowns now that we're at it. He's got a couple.
Just one. Just one.
Oh, that's it?
Yep. The biggest thing is he can't convert in the red zone. So Green Bay was the worst team in the red zone this season. They've allowed every single red zone opportunity to become a touchdown. I want to say it was 31 for 31 or something insane like that. Or at least a score. I want to say it was a touchdown. They didn't convert a single red zone opportunity.
Wow.
Maybe they converted one.
Terrible. They have a great set of, just offensive talent.
They do. It's insane, and yet they can't convert. It's absolutely. It's
even Ricky Seals-Jones is just like the man.
Yeah, and so I don't foresee Heineke being part of this team's future. They want to see what they have. Right. If it's Fitzpatrick, they want to build a culture, a winning culture where they're not going to give up and they're not going to lose. Blah 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 blah. So if Fitzpatrick is ready, they'll run him out up against Tampa Bay in a game where they're going to need the best arm at quarterback, which Taylor Heineke is not the best arm. He's actually very poor downfield when it comes to his targets. Do I like Heineke more? Yeah, sure, but they need to see what they have with Fitzpatrick.
So, in like I mentioned earlier, I'm in a 2 QB, my home league. It's a super flex, so I had Fields and Lance and Baker, so I'm hurting for quarterback. So I put in for Roethlisberger. Heineke's out there too. I just want to now I need to collect quarterbacks because these guys aren't doing it for me. And he might be a spot start guy. Who knows until he gets benched. Maybe I should go pick up Fitz now in advance. What week did you say he was ready?
So they're expecting him back. They're expecting back after the bye week, but he hasn't started practicing yet, so it's still kind of up in the air. I would never say, "Hey, we're going into week 8. Go pick somebody up that's 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out."
Pick him out and stash him on your IR if you have an open IR spot.
Yeah. Oh, that's good point.
Not
good
bad.
point. Good point. I like that one. See, that's why you're here. You're here to teach us some stuff, invite us into the knowledge.
Hey, we all bring something to the table.
I love that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over to the next quarterback that I would love to bash. Oh, who did I have?
Bashing a QB?
Yeah, it's a quarterback. I don't have. I got off my main screen and I'm waiting for it to load.
It can't be the guy staring you in the face right now with those pearly whites, is it?
Which one? Oh man, sorry, I'm fading. My computer's not loading right. Let me go ahead and go over to this other screen that I was using earlier. Right. It was Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's somebody that's not seen a ton of opportunities. Sure, he has an advantageous matchup this upcoming week to an extent, but Matt Ryan's just not it for me right now. He's somebody that's struggling from week to week to produce, and you really never know when he's actually going to have an amazing week. Meanwhile, I mean, we talk about the Panthers defense, and this is a dominant defense for the most part. They have their weeks where they're subpar, but I'm a big fan of Matt Ryan moving forward. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of Matt Ryan moving forward up against, a tougher schedule to say the least. And Calvin Ridley is not the alpha that a lot of people thought that he could be. So Kyle Pitts, everything that's advertised, Cordell Patterson, better than everything that's been advertised.
Right.
Outside of that, this offense has been very subpar, and up against a Carolina defense, I just don't see where you'd actually play them.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers are great against the pass. They're number 2 against the pass. So take that into account, but you got to remember Matt Ryan throws the ball like 40, 45 times a game.
He does.
I mean, he's averaging. He's gonna. I mean, he might have 600 attempts this year, which is crazy. So I mean, he's got 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions already. I against the Panthers, he's playing at home, division matchup. I wouldn't necessarily fade him if I had somebody similar or worse. If I had a locked in guy, I would put him in because he's playing at home. I mean, he's averaged outside of that first game against the Eagles. He's gotten you over 20 points in a lot of leagues.
Yeah. He's back end quarterback, I should say front end quarterback
locked
too.
He's locked into 2 touchdowns. He's going to get you 2 touchdown passes a game. That's pretty much what he's getting. And to your Ridley point, you don't know what's going on in Ridley's head. He might be able to just like flick the switch and it's Calvin Ridley all of a sudden. He had to take some personal time off, right? I didn't know what that was all about. So
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, he might have to. I think that was he was injured, but I think that he missed the last game as a result of some outside of the game thing.
That's right.
So he might be, Pitts is taken off. They're all going to be keen on Pitts right now. They might, the pressure might be off Ridley a little bit since everyone's, Pitts is the flavor of the month. So, and Russell Gage is back in the fold. He's missed most of the season. So he had a nice game last week with a touchdown. Russell Gage might be somebody you want to look into under the radar, but I don't know. Ridley, I mean, everyone he's rostered, so I don't know if you want to try and get him and hope he picks up the pace as we get a little closer to the fantasy playoffs. He might be a buy low candidate.
So my next guy is going to be at running back, and it's going to be Boston Scott. Boston Scott is a huge trash for me. I mean, They could bring Jordan Howard back, right? And he could be a part of the offense. He's been a special teamer. He's the Jordan Wilkins of this offense, right? Where he plays special teams, like he gets you touches. This offense came from Indianapolis. Like this is the same offense. Like, I mean, it's something as to where like, why would you even try to roster Boston Scott? Well, wait. He gave you productive games back 2 years ago when every other running back was hurt. I mean, This is just something that is absolutely bizarre to me. This offensive line's not healthy, and we can't even trust Miles Sanders. We can't trust Kenny Gainwell.
Right.
Sudden, Boston Scott's in, and Boston Scott is going to get you 13, 14 points a game. This is so bizarre to me, like beyond bizarre, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Can you make any sense of it? Or are you out?
Rank these 3 guys. I mean, Keith Smith, Boston Scott. Who's another one of these like random, Boston Scott is just going to betray you. That's all. Don't put him in your lineup because if he hits, it'll be the same as like, hitting a scratch off. It's not going to be, he might, get a random this or that, but you don't want to mess around with that.
What's his hit?
There's no ceiling. Yeah. There's no like
12 points.
yeah, exactly. No, you don't want Boston Scott on your team. It's just a big waste of time. Don't get Boston Scott.
It's stupid, and everybody has him up there. Everybody has him up there in like the top 3 or 4 pickups. Like people are starving for content just to put up there for waiver wire pickups because they have to. And it's like, dude, like you are giving people bad information. Don't go pick up some of these players. And
I'd rather have Demetric Felton than Boston Scott.
I'll take that. I'm on board with that 100%.
Yeah, even though he had a stinker last week, I still like you mentioned earlier, Dearness Johnson is in the Chubb role Ramondre Stevenson's still always going to be that pass catcher out of the back. So, always, if you have room to stash him, there might be some opportunities there. But that got to keep an eye on that quarterback situation.
Are you stashing Samaje Perine?
Nah, no.
Why?
Although
Like, why would you?
I feel like, yeah, I guess. I mean, no, I'm not stashing Samaje Perine.
No, why would you?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right. If you know what, because he's a handcuff, and you don't want to be. Yeah, he had a big play, but he's done nothing this year outside of that nice run last week.
Even if he's a decent running back, he's not getting the passing downs. That's going to be Chris Evans for the most part. Chris Evans is starting to break out. He's starting to see more opportunities, and we've seen that. I mean, Samaje Perine is going to run the ball on an offense that passes the ball.
I mean, I'm not worried about
three dynamic playmakers.
I'm not worried about Perine until the fantasy playoffs. If I'm a Joe Mixon guy,
even then, like, is Perine going to give you 20 fantasy points in a game or 15?
No, I don't know. He's not. Perine?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just ridiculous. So, all right, so we're on the same page.
Oh, we are on the same page. All right, I think we were we were like, okay. We had the same jersey on there. We're passing the ball. Same team.
All right, so what about Elijah Moore?
What?
Elijah Moore.
Oh, dude, I got it. Hey, you know what? You think I know he's got you had a big that was a big thing on your website there, man. What's that? Where do you find that article again?
The TrophySmack.com. TrophySmack.com.
There you go. Elijah Moore.
I like Elijah Moore for Dynasty. This is more redraft, right? We're talking about waiver wire pickups for this season. Yes. And all of a sudden he gets 7 targets. He's the third on the team in snaps. And everybody's like, go pick him up. He needs to be picked up. Like, you should go pick him up. On an offense that just lost their starting quarterback, that had their quarterback who took over throw to the running back on 44% of the passes that he attempted. What's his name? Something White. Matt White.
You cannot say anything bad about Mike White when he didn't take any reps in the training camp and no reps. He's getting. I mean, they have the rookie quarterback. Mike White is just the guy that's like, hey man, go pick us up some breakfast. He's like, he's taking the clothes to the cleaners. Next thing you know, he's playing quarterback in the NFL. So, and he doesn't have relevant experience. So the fact that he came in and kind of just held the fort down and we got out of that game, just like, thank God. I mean, it could have been like 60 to 10 or whatever it was. They put up 50 points.
Yeah, I agree with you, but at the same time, like, yes. I mean, we're talking about Elijah Moore here, right? So
no, you know what? I'd rather have Elijah Moore than the last guy we were talking about.
Who, Samaje? I mean, yeah. Well, these guys you guys were trashing though.
Yeah, we're trashing. You know what? I'm not going to trash Elijah Moore. I'm just not. I can't. No way. Listen, he's not a bad. I mean, listen. Okay. I
need your take on this. Why do you have 7 targets with 1 reception? I need to hear your take.
I mean, look who's playing quarterback for you. And he scores on an end around. That's even funnier.
Yeah, he did.
So wait a minute. So you have Elijah Moore, who I predicted early, and it was one of my things before the season started. Elijah Moore, league winner. He's going to be like, he's going to come on at the end of the season and work him in slow. And he had a hamstring injury at the end of training camp, and he missed a lot of time. Missed the first game of the season. He's still capable. If Joe Flacco is in there, Joe Flacco will get the ball to Elijah Moore. He's like Joe Flacco. Jokes aside, he is a professional quarterback. He's a professional NFL quarterback. In fact, the Jets had their best games when he played last season. Just because I don't know why. But listen, that's not a big. When I say their best games last season, that's a low bar. Their best games are a very very low bar, just like they've been this season. But you know what? Stay away from all the Jets, honestly, unless you are completely desperate. You never want to start the Jets unless you're completely desperate. I would rather. I'd plug in Elijah Moore just because I'm a Jets fan, and you get what you had last week. The Cincinnati Bengals are a formidable opponent. You're going to need to score a lot of points to beat them. So just expect a negative game script, like right out. I mean, the Jets, they don't score points. They just let up points. So they're going to be firing the ball all over the field. They're going to have no choice going against this powerhouse Cincinnati Bengals team. So in that respect, for volume, if you had to and you have nothing else, you got to go. I mean, it's Corey Davis, it's Michael Carter, then maybe Jamison Crowder and Elijah Moore. If he's like the fourth option, he's like, I don't know. I'd probably play him over Mecole Hardman, but they're on like a bye. But yeah, I'm not messing with. I'm not. Stay away. You're right, Chase. I can't believe you made me. You got this out of me. I mean,
well, all right. So
Zach Wilson knew all along. Look at the smile on his face right now. He like the whole time he's just like, come on, just say it. Elijah Moore is.
I like the connection. I like the connection that Zach Wilson and Moore could have had. However, Zach Wilson didn't check it down enough, so it ended up creating a lot of pressure.
They needed to design plays specifically for Elijah Moore. They haven't done that. It's been a big fucking issue. Yes,
this was the same thing that happened back with the Panthers and Curtis Samuel. So everybody talked about the air yards he's getting, right? Everybody talked about the targets he's getting downfield.
Dude, don't even no. You're not gonna bring Curtis Samuel into an Elijah Moore conversation.
I'm not talking about last year. I am talking about 2 years ago when Curtis Samuel was literally just getting targeted downfield time and time again. Everyone's like, oh, the air yards, oh, the downfield targets, the target premiums, like, whoa, and they're like building up this fake, stat existence that could help if they were good receivers downfield. And Elijah Moore's fine downfield, but he's better used the same way that Curtis Samuel was used in 2020, the same way that Deebo Samuel is used in the 49ers offense currently, where, hey, give him the ball close to the line of scrimmage, give him some ability to find space, because that's where Elijah Moore succeeds, is finding space, and then target him when he finds space. Don't try to give him contested catches. Don't try to just give him downfield bombs. That's not how he's properly utilized. And although he could make plays in training camp and stuff that shows you differently, that is not the type of player that he is. He has great hands. He has great intuition in space. Go get Elijah Moore opportunities in space.
Do it.
But that's not going to happen because
but not this week. It's not going to happen this week.
We're not coaches anyway, so we can.
We're talking week to week. Yeah, you don't want to touch a lot. You don't want to touch any Jets really. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could take a stab if you're hurting. If you're hurting, then all of the skill position players are going to be in a negative game script the entire game. That's the only thing I have going for you. So, unless they get shut out and only score 3 points, then you're out of luck.
All right, so let's hop on Randall Cobb.
Oh baby, Randall Cobb.
This can't be real, right? People aren't picking up Randall Cobb off waivers, are they? Like, they're not listening to people. I don't care if Devontae Adams is in, out. I don't care. I don't care if Alan Lazard's in and out. I don't care if MVS plays. Like, you cannot pick up an aging slot receiver. You can't do that and play him up against one of the best slot corners the NFL's ever seen.
Yeah, that's real.
Like, yeah, sure. Like, he might have some experience, but Byron Murphy is not like a inexperienced, rookie. Like, this guy is super athletic. He's one of the best slot corners in the NFL outside of maybe Chris Harris, who has kind of fallen off for the past few years. This is the next Chris Harris. This is that next guy that you never want your slot wide receiver to go up against. And guess what? He's literally probably going to be shadowing Randall Cobb if he even needs to. But if not, I mean, he's going to be covering the slot the whole time. This is not a good situation for Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I think I like Elijah Moore more than Randall Cobb. I don't know.
I would take Elijah Moore over Randall Cobb.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an ugly game for the Packers. They just have a stink on them right now. It's a Thursday night game. Arizona Cardinals, the juggernaut. They're going to be airing it out. I mean, Rodgers is going to want to show his stuff to Kyler Murray, but I don't think that they don't have the firepower. They're going to have to set up the run. It's going to be and then just like Robert Tonyan to the moon. Just keep throwing at Tonyan. And I don't even think he's a good play because he doesn't get targets.
No, I completely agree with you on that aspect. I mean, this is something as to where like this is not looking good for Aaron Rodgers, which is why we faded him at the beginning of the show in exchange for Tannehill.
ESB gets a shot.
Does
He's
he?
still
Does he
there.
get a shot this week?
He's still there. I mean,
I don't
there's
even
nobody
know.
else. You know,
Sounds so
Jordan Love.
gross.
How many
Could they
stars
just-
does Jordan Love? Jordan Love get some wide receiver eligibility this week.
Can they trade for Brandon Ayuk?
Oh, guess what? Just who got waived? Willie Snead.
Oh God, no! Oh my God!
Willie Snead to the
Please.
Packers. They should trade for Mims. Wouldn't Mims look good on the Packers?
Well, he's MVS 2.0.
No, Mims?
Yeah, he is MVS 2.0. He runs the
No
same exact route
way.
tree.
I think
He has the same exact. He jumps a little higher, but he has the same exact measurables. It's literally
get out of here.
Oh,
So,
I would love to actually break that down because I haven't not broken that down yet. But that's immediately the first thing that came to mind.
Oh, Mims over MVS all day.
Well, I
If
mean,
Mims
MVS
goes
is
to
getting
the
snaps.
Packers-
Mims is not.
Well, if Mims goes to the Packers, we'll see what LaFleur thinks, or
Oh,
A
God,
Rod,
all right.
or A Rod.
So let's hop on to my tight end that I want to trash.
Oh yeah,
A lot of people aren't going to like this. Ricky Seals-Jones.
ooh, and you are you're almost like a Washington football team insider, right?
Kind of. Well, I'm kind of a fan, I guess. I renounced my fandom last summer.
Why would you have a beef with someone that seems to catch it like a touchdown pass every week, right?
So here's the deal. All right, they have a tough matchup this upcoming week up against the Broncos, right? And then they have a bye week. We talked about the same thing with Taylor Heineke. And then Logan Thomas comes back.
Ooh.
So even if Logan Thomas does not come back, you still have Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? And Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't target the tight end. He targets his wide receivers outside the numbers.
No, he doesn't though. I mean, that's the scoop on him. But Logan Thomas is kind of someone he hasn't really had. I mean,
No,
I guess
you're right.
Gesicki, but
OJ Howard, Gesicki.
But I don't know.
had tight
He
ends.
didn't. He seemed to utilize Logan Thomas, right?
He only played
course he will.
a handful of snaps, so that's tough to tell.
Didn't he throw to Logan Thomas?
Well, either way, based off of his numbers in the past, it's not a good guess.
Yeah.
But then even if you get him, Fitzpatrick for one game, Logan Thomas is going to be back by week 12 at the very latest, most likely week 11. So it's something as where I am not a fan of picking up and spending fab dollars on Ricky Seals-Jones.
I can understand that, but if you're in a pinch and tight end is so herky-jerky, if you want to call it that, Ricky Seals-Jones has put up double-digit points, and that's all you want out of your tight end every week.
But he has Justin Simmons.
He hasn't gotten less than 5 targets. I mean, you can't. Are you talking about the defender?
Yeah, you're talking about the Denver Broncos, who have played the Browns, they played the Ravens, they played the Raiders, and they're still 6th or 4th, depending on your scoring, up against tight end position. They faced some of the best tight ends in the league, and they shut them all down.
Okay, but guess what? Ricky Seals-Jones isn't one of the best tight ends in the league. He's Ricky Seals-Jones. They're not going to give a shit about him. Come on, they're not going to be paying attention to Ricky Seals-Jones. They're not going to be keying on Ricky Seals-Jones.
Okay, who are they going to pay attention to? Who are they going to pay attention to?
Hold on.
They're going to pay attention to the injured Antonio Gibson. They're going to pay attention to, of course, Terry McLaurin, but that's already off the table.
You got to find out where JD McKissick. You got to find out where JD McKissick is lining up first, my man. Come on,
get out of here.
You don't think so?
No, I'm not a fan of JD McKissick this week. The Denver Broncos are tied for second in the dump-off containment efficiency score. So,
oh God, you and all these statistics and the analytics. Come on now.
Hey, I created my own, and they're
that's
reliable.
why Ricky Seals-Jones is not going to get at least minimum 5 targets on Sunday.
Sure, he'll see 5 targets with 3 receptions for 20 yards.
Oh my God!
Stamp it, timestamp. Let's go.
All right. Save it. RSJ, baby. RSJ.
Oh man, do you have a tight end you want to trash?
You know what? Evan Ingram's a punk. Screw him.
He's so bad.
Am I too late to the party for the Evan Ingram trash section?
We did it last week, but we can bring it up again this week. It's cool. I don't mind trashing Evan Ingram at any point in time.
There's just, there's been no one to throw to. Evan Ingram's been like, oh yeah, there's Evan Ingram, and then that's it.
10 points. 10 points. He's tight end 13 with nobody to throw to.
Yeah, he just embarrasses whoever is in his wake. But I'm bummed that you're trashing Ricky Seals-Jones. I mean, Mo Cox. I mean, I'm gonna do the opposite of trash right now. I'm so up on Mo Cox. I don't know. I think Zach Ertz. Do I want to trash Zach Ertz after that big game? Think he's going to come down to earth? Do you think he's going to be? He's after that big game? Is this the situation where the fantasy player chases the points of Zach Ertz? Oh, I got Zach Ertz. Because he was been an afterthought for most of the season, and now
but that wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
he's playing with Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. Like, it's tough, but I actually like Zach Ertz this week. He was one of my sleeper picks of the week that I was lining up. But I can understand trashing him.
I mean, I'll trash what's his name? I'll just say Charlie Warner because I don't know his first name. That was a wild guess.
I think Charlie's actually right.
Am I right?
I think you
tight
are.
End of the tight end one for the Niners.
Is he actually the tight end one? I picked
Ross
Dwelley.
Ross Dwelley's the tight end too. Yeah, they didn't. I guess demoted him because old Charlie Warner has been tearing it up. So they both put up stinkers. So who cares about them? So I'll trash those two guys. Stay away from the San Francisco tight ends.
That works.
There you go.
All right. So we're going on an hour now. Let's go ahead and get you out of here. Larry, where can we find you? By the way, thank you for coming on last minute. This show normally happens at 8 o'clock. We kicked it off at almost 9:30.
Baby.
Appreciate you coming in. Normally we wouldn't have this show
this
at all.
Was great.
If it wasn't for you.
This was complete ad lib too. There was no sheet, nothing. We were just firing away, just rambling. Bam, boom. That's the best way to do it. Get that raw emotion. Get it.
I need to bring you back in when we actually have a show sheet with Britt.
Oh,
and hear you guys go back and forth.
Yeah, there you go. I'd love to. Yeah, man, I've seen her around. So I'd love to meet her one of these days. So thanks for having me. You can find me Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast. You guys have to follow the Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page, Twitter at Dynasty Hot Sauce. We drop an episode once a week. We just dropped one today. We focus primarily on dynasty football, but we're all about redraft as well. We're fantasy football super nerds. So we know, we can comment on anything, questions. We love it. My partner in crime at RunDFF, Justin Rogers. Follow him on Twitter at FF Larry Monkey. Follow me on Twitter. And again, man, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. And thank you to my beautiful, almost 7 months pregnant wife who put the kibosh on the idea of me coming out tonight. And then who was working was just like, okay, you can do a podcast tonight. So thank you, Stephanie.
That's awesome. Wait, is it yours?
The baby? Yes, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
We'll see. Well, it depends. I cannot. No comment. I cannot
confirm or
visual
deny.
evidence. I think I need visual evidence, perhaps a DNA test, but first, you got to go visual evidence, and then down the road, see how that goes first. I'm hoping it's mine. But the mailman is a good-looking guy.
She's gonna come. So, she's gonna hear you. She's gonna know you're talking about her. She's gonna come down and smack you in the back of the head. She's gonna walk by with like a frying pan, just hit you in the back of the head as you're walking by.
Just pull the plug. She's been known to pull the plug on podcasts. So yeah,
no way.
If you want to see that, we do fun things. So we have Chase on the show. We do some live broadcasts. Follow our YouTube page. Catch us on Twitter. We have the whole Linktree thing, which has everything. Dynasty Hot Sauce. We got some merch. Follow us, buy some T-shirts. We got the cheapest merch that in the whole fantasy football community. You will not beat our prices on that stuff because I want you to have them. So get in on that. Get a Dynasty. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, hey.
Larry, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you. Go check out all of Larry's stuff, of course, and go follow him on Twitter at FFLarryMonkey.
Love you, Chase. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Of course. Make sure you guys come check me out at fantasyintervention.com and go check out the Discord, fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. Go check out Trophy Smack's brand new content side of things and their trophies. They got legit shit. Have you seen their stuff?
I haven't. I can't wait. You passed that link on to me earlier, and I'm going to jump on and check it out.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. We're
got
going
you.
from R to X-rated here.
So this right here, this is one of their title belts. This thing is legit. So they did the Masters thing or whatever it was over at the fantasy football convention, but this thing is like legit. Like it's solid.
Feels
I'm like
it. Looks like
tossing it over my shoulder. It weighs multiple pounds. It's legit. Like it's not like a cheap plastic thing. This is actually straight metal.
Do you have to pass it on to anyone? Do you have to pass it on to anyone? Or is that yours forever?
I'm gonna pass it on eventually.
Okay,
but
make sure you take a naked just the belt on photo. And then after you ship it, like a month later, just be like, oh, did I mention you guys, or sanitize a championship belt? We do a whole episode on sanitizing your championship belt for that specific reason. So yeah, follow the Dynasty Hot Sauce. All of our podcasts are very unique, and check us out, man. We talk football, all kinds, best ball, DFS, Dynasty, redraft.
Larry, that's amazing. I got to talk to you. All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you all for listening.
Sanitize.
Thank you guys for letting us interview with your fantasy football life. We're out.